Hey guys, we are now 6 days away from the election because it's 12:30 a.m., so it's technically 6 days now. And I am just answering some questions on our Reddit AMA. Thank you guys for asking questions. I really appreciate it. It's so important to be an engaged part of our democratic process. So just by asking questions, that's what you're doing. You're setting yourself up to make an informed vote on June 4th, and I think that's really important. So thank you so much for doing that. The first question is, my wife and I will be moving to the north side in a few months and are concerned about the lead in the water. What can we do to help find a more permanent solution to the problem? That's a really great question. There is lead in the drinking water in a lot of households in Newark, and that's something that actually really needs to be addressed on a local and state level. I personally think that we need state level funding to just replace the lead pipes, the lead infrastructure. That's what's really important. The city has put in place an 8-year program where they're asking residents that are affected to pay $1,000 to have their lead pipes replaced. I think that isn't the best way to go about this. I do think all the pipes need to be replaced, but I don't think it should be at the expense of homeowners. I just don't believe that's fair. For a lot of the homeowners, they aren't the ones that installed the lead pipe, so why are they the ones paying to get that fixed? And especially in a city like Newark, where there are corporations like Panasonic and Prudential that are getting multi-million-dollar tax cuts, it just doesn't make sense to force the residents who need access to clean water to have to pay $1,000 to get their pipes replaced. So that needs to change. It's something that we're going to fight for. But for the time being, there aren't a lot of permanent solutions. There aren't a lot of cost-effective permanent solutions. I suppose you can hire a contractor to have your pipes replaced privately, or you can get on the city's list, which can take up to 8 years to have them replace your pipe. But a temporary solution would be to get a water filter that is certified to remove lead. That is actually really important. And then you can also get water bottles. So I'll put a link up here for you, because the city supposedly offers free water filters. So I'll put a link so that you can get more information about those free water filters. But that's an important step that you should take to make sure that you're not consuming water that has lead in it. Also, I'll put a link to this as well, but the city will test your water for you. At least that's what they claim. So you just have to sign up. There could be a long wait time, but I'll have that link for you as well, so I hope that helps. The next question is, there should be both tax incentives and some assistance. Making Newark competitive is part of making Newark great again. I am concerned because my $11K property bill on my home, even in Newark, there are many adjacent towns around Newark, perhaps can be consolidated into a larger Newark or Essex school system. The state needs such reforms because tax burdens are too high in the state. Do you support Senator Sweeney's path to progress? So this is definitely a very well thought out question. I personally, I'm not a big fan of the tax incentives. I think we should be investing directly into the people of Newark and not these corporations that claim that they're going to do good things for the residents, because they just haven't. There are schools in some of the outer wards that are still struggling and people struggling to get students to come to class. And that's not because the students don't want to come to class. It's because a lot of these people don't have access to clean clothes. That's why we saw Westside High School, the principal, Akbar Cook, he got a lot of attention because he installed a laundromat inside his high school because people were able to clean their clothes and then they were more comfortable in going to school. And so what I didn't like about that whole story and how it was spotlighted was the fact that, we made the high school out to be a hero when we should really be looking at look at the way that people are living in this community. There are people that are so impoverished that they can't afford to clean their clothes, and those are the people that deserve our investment. If we shouldn't be spending millions of dollars on tax incentives for these corporations when there are people that can't even get access to clean clothes in that same city. So no, I don't support consolidating the school district. No, I don't support Senator Sweeney's path to progress. I think it's very backwards. I think it's taking money from the wrong places. You know, I think what we need to look at is increasing the tax on the wealthy. So having a higher marginal tax rate on income over $1 million. What that means is for every dollar that people earn over $1 million in 1 year, that should be taxed at a higher percentage, you know? And we're not talking about like 30%, like 50%, like I'm talking about like 10%. That's the proposed millionaires tax by Governor Murphy, and that would bring some much needed revenue into our state, which could end up being used as property tax relief or for property tax relief. Another thing is just the EDA needs to be reformed because $11 billion of state money just went into these giant corporations that had no obligation to create jobs. So that's money that could have been used in property tax relief. So I don't think we need to work on consolidating the school districts. I think that's a Band-Aid. That's not resolving the bigger issue here. The bigger issue here is, you know, we have some of the highest taxes in the nation, and we're using that in the wrong places. We're investing it in the wrong places. We're investing it in corporations that are doing nothing for the people of Newark, and we need to work on investing that directly into property tax relief, into investment in our public education system, and in investment in programs like job training programs that are actually going to help people on a individual level. So that's what I think needs to happen on that front. Thanks for asking the question, though. And then the third question is, hi there, Vez. Welcome to the Newark subreddit. We really appreciate you engaging with us. I have a few questions. See below. What is your stance on public transportation, and do you plan on supporting marijuana legalization? Why or why not? Thank you so much. That was such a kind question, and just the way you presented it, I really appreciate it. We should be engaging with you guys because you're an important part of this community. My stance on public transportation is it needs to be radically revamped. I think the New Jersey Transit is very inefficient, and we need to see a lot more investment in them. And I think that we should use this as an opportunity to transform our public transportation system. We should look into innovation, right? There are technologies like Hyperloop that exist, which is, you know, which uses magnetic rail to transport people at high speeds. You know, it kind of alleviates the problem of congestion, because if these trains are going at such high speeds, you know, you can get more trains in, and you can get more people to where they need to be in a speedy manner. I mean, you look at other countries, right? Japan has, you know, what's it called? The levitating trains or something. It is real. It's like a magnet rail. They use magnets, and the benefits of that is, you know, without friction, you can go a lot faster. And so some of their trains are extremely fast. And I think we need to bring that technology to New Jersey. I think we need to just spend a lot of money in that, right? Because that's something that affects working people, that affects a lot of people that are trying to get to their job in New York or just trying to travel in a cost-effective manner. We should at least make some significant investment to radically transform that. And I just think the existing infrastructure is overpriced, and you're not getting what you're paying for. And I do support legalizing marijuana. I think it needs to happen. I think it should have happened yesterday, and, you know, a year ago, or, you know, even longer. I just think it's a factor of the way the criminalization of marijuana has led to overpopulation of our prisons, right? There's this war on drugs that is disproportionately affecting communities of color, and it's you know, there are statistics that show that, you know, there's no disparity between the use of marijuana. Like, you know, communities use it to the same extent. You know what I mean. And what I mean actually is, let me try to clarify that a little more. Is that, you know, communities of color use it as much as Caucasian communities and just all diverse communities. There's no difference, but there is a difference in the amount of people incarcerated in relation to substance use. So it's just a system that's not working. That shouldn't be the only reason that it should be legalized. I don't think it's harming anyone. Alcohol has been legal for a long time, and you could argue that it has less significant effects than marijuana does. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I think it's targeting a specific group of people. It's a money-making machine for the prisons. So I don't think it should be illegal. And that's where I stand on that. It's more about the justice aspect of it. We want to make sure people are treated fairly, and this is an excuse to lock people up, and we don't want more excuses to lock people up. People should be locked up if they're threatening other people's livelihoods. That's the situation where people should be locked up. I think we need to see massive reform in our criminal justice system, because we're locking up way too many people. If you look at the statistics, we lock up more people per capita than any other nation in the world. That's like the one of very few things that America is leading the way in, is how many people we lock up per capita. So that's not a good statistic. Let's change that, and it starts by ending the war on marijuana. All right, those were the questions. Keep them coming. They're great questions, and feel free to get really creative with it. Feel free to even ask personal questions if you'd like. I'll do my best to answer them. And thank you so much for participating in this election process. It's really important that you stay engaged, and I appreciate the fact that you are staying engaged. Thanks so much.